Are you still recording? You are. How long is this video? 24 minutes? Hello and welcome to Balanced Skein. My name is Kendra and today's video is going to be a sort of a tour of my handmade garments that I have so far and a thesis, if you will, on whether I want to frog them. No. In today's video, I'm gonna go through my handmade garments and decide whether I want to keep them, fix them, frog them, or toss them. So, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in hearing about, please watch this video and let me know what you think. First, we'll start with the keep them pile, and we can start by talking about my Bly cardigan. So I'll stand up and show you what it looks like. I talked about this cardigan, I believe, in my first 2 YouTube videos. So if you want to go and see those specific podcast episodes and hear more about this garment, the designer, the yarn, and everything, check that out. So yeah, be sure to check that out because I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video on this particular piece. But it is a basic top-down raglan cardigan that's knit flat with worsted weight yarn. It has a V-neck shaping at the neck, and I did make some modifications in terms of the bottom hem, and I did omit the buttonholes and the buttons on the button band. So I intended to wear this like as an open, sort of oversized type of cardigan. And I wear this all the time, mostly around the house. Obviously because that's just the life I'm living right now, but generally it's just very comfortable. It is super easy to care for. So I use a washable acrylic yarn to make this cardigan. So I pop it in the washer and dryer with the rest of my laundry, and it has stood up perfectly. There's hardly any pilling. The yarn is Lion Brand Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling, so I can attest to the lack of pilling in this yarn. So what you'll see is there are a couple of snagged stitches here. No fault of the yarn, it's just me just living my life and getting caught on things that stick out of walls. So yeah, this one I'm definitely gonna keep, and it'll be forever my cozy house cardigan. Next on the keep list is my vest number 1. Now this is a crew neck top down vest in plain stockinette with 1x1 ribbing at the collar, at the hem, and on the armholes. I love this vest. I wear it all the time. Probably not as much as this cardigan because I am home more often than I am out and about. So this is definitely a garment that I wear when I'm going somewhere and I'm doing something outside of the house. You can probably see that it is very drapey, and I used a DK weight yarn held with a mohair. Both were Knit Picks yarns, so Knit Picks Gloss DK held with Knit Picks Aloft, I believe it's called, which is a lace weight mohair yarn, and that is what's giving this fabric the fuzz and halo and texture. And they are in contrasting colors, so the mohair is in a oatmeal like cream color, and this sort of burnt orange is the DK yarn. And I think that the marled effect of the finished fabric is really nice. I like it a lot. The mohair makes this vest really warm, and so much so that I'm 9 times out of 10 when I wear it, I'm probably going to be sweating a little bit. So maybe it's too warm, but it is super comfortable and effective. And I usually like to wear this with a pair of jeans and maybe like a balloon see blouse underneath, or like a plain black t-shirt like the one I'm wearing today. And I find it to be very versatile. I never considered myself a vest person, but when I made this and I realized how much I enjoyed wearing it and pairing it with other pieces in my wardrobe, I made plans to make another one. So I am going to be making another one of these in like a charcoal dark gray color. So I'm excited to do that, and I'm definitely keeping it. One thing that I would change about this is that I would make it a little bit longer. So I might add in some clips of me actually wearing it, but if I stand up, you can probably get a good idea of where it sits on my body. So it's kind of cropped. I would say this is my waist and this is where it ends. I would probably, in my next version, make it a little bit longer. Just for a personal preference, really. But overall, it is a really successful piece. Probably my most successful garment that I've knit since I learned how to knit. And for the bind off, I did the Italian sewn bind off. So it looks kind of like tubular, but in my opinion, it's a lot easier. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about this one. Next on the keep list is my weekender sweater. So this is a pretty straightforward pattern. This is the first garment I ever knit. So I completed this just about a year ago in January 2021. And yeah, it is one of my prized possessions because it was a labor of love. So my first ever garment, my first time ever working with 100% wool yarn. So this is using the Patton's Classic Worsted, which is 100% basic wool. And I think the color is gray heather. And it is worked bottom up with a split hem detail. And the back hem is longer than the front hem. And then there's this faux seam up the middle. And then the neck is sort of just a basic boat neck. There's no like specific neck shaping to make it dip or anything like that. That's probably my least favorite element of this sweater, but I don't tend to like boat necks. And there's no short rows. There are short rows, but the short rows are identical on the front and back. So there's no short rows specifically on the back to like raise the back of the neck and make it fit more naturally. So I don't really like that aspect of the design. And then just the boat neck is probably not my favorite style of neck whatsoever. It just kind of fits awkwardly, and I feel like it cuts into the front of my neck a little bit when I wear it. But by no means is that a deal breaker. I think for that reason, I don't have any plans to make another weekender, but I'm still very happy with how this turned out, all things considered. For it to be my first ever garment, I think this is a hugely successful project. The other thing I would say is that the pattern does call for tubular cast on and bind off in the 1x1 ribbing. And I chose to do just a basic stretchy bind off. I didn't bother with the tubular. First of all, this was my first ever garment project, and this is a project that made me realize that I didn't enjoy tubular. I attempted it several times and it just was unsuccessful. So I did a German twisted cast on for the bottom, and then I did a basic stretchy bind off for the cuffs and the neckline. Yeah, but that's really it. That is my weekender. So there is a little bit of pilling here. I wear this quite often, and it's been a year of it, a year of me owning it and it being finished. So I think, considering how often I wear, which is probably 1 to 2 times a week in the winter, the pilling really isn't that bad. But I did recently purchase a gleamer, so I will be using that to clean this up a little bit. And also I haven't washed it yet. So I did the initial wet blocking, but I haven't washed it since then. And considering how often I wear it, you might think that's gross, but honestly it doesn't. First of all, I always wear something like this under it, and I'm not doing any strenuous activity when I wear it, and when I do wear it, it's maybe 2 to 3 hours at a time. And wool is really good in that you don't really have to wash it every time you wear it or wash it super frequently. So it smells fine, it looks fine. I'm probably just gonna wash it because in my mind a year is a long time to wear something and not wash it. Like when I said that out loud, I was like, oh, that's kind of gross, I should probably wash it. So I'm gonna wash it, but at this point I haven't yet. And yeah, I'm super proud of this one, and I'm definitely gonna keep it, even though it's not perfect. And if I were to do it again, there are some things that I would change. I'm still really proud of it, and it's still perfectly wearable. It's really warm, it's wool, and so yeah, I don't see any reason to change it because I do wear it. And that's kind of one thing that you'll notice about the items that are in my keep section, is that I wear them all the time, and there's nothing about the project that makes it such that I don't really gravitate towards it. I still wear it even if it's not perfect. I'm wearing it all the time, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's a good transition because the next couple of items that I'm going to talk through are broken, and I do plan to fix them. So next up is the fix section, and actually there's only one item in this particular category, and that is my Veasey sweater. So I talked about this in a previous podcast episode and video. I knit this with Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. It is the pattern itself is a part of the Brooklyn Tweed Schools In collection of patterns that they released earlier in 2021, in the fall of 2021. And I got selected to preview knit for that collection, and I was able to choose which pattern I wanted to knit, and I chose the Veasey pattern. It's a really beautiful pattern. I love the striping detail included here on the V-neck and the cuff. It is a top-down raglan V-neck construction, so it's 100% seamless. I chose to do the Italian sewn bind off on the neck, the cuffs, and down here on the bottom hem as well. And there is some short roll shaping both at the top and bottom of the back. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but there's short roll shaping here at the top and towards the bottom to give like a subtle, maybe you can see it if I hold it up, like a really subtle high-low shaping. So you see how the back hem hangs a little bit lower than the front hem because there's some short roll shaping just before the ribbing on the back. I don't wear this. I've worn it twice since I finished it, and at this point we are a good way into January, so that is not a good sign. And when I sat down and thought about how I never grab this sweater, I never feel compelled to wear it, I was like, that's so unfortunate, because I was really excited about this project, and I was excited even when I first finished it because for me it was a really professional, like clean, sophisticated piece, and I hadn't made anything like this before, and I was just really proud of how clean, like I hate picking up stitches, and I'm generally not very good at it, but not to toot my own horn, but I did a really good job at picking up stitches. And it was just like little details like that that made me feel like this piece was really professional and well made. And then to end up never wearing it is just really kind of heartbreaking. But the reason I don't wear it is because it is just far too cropped. I'll definitely pop in some video footage of me actually wearing it. Actually, I'll put it on now. So I love how it fits basically from the chest up. I think the sleeves are a good length. They're comfortable. Let me get situated. So I think the sleeves are good. It's nice and fitted, but not too tight to where it's uncomfortable. And I love like what you're seeing in the screen right now. I love this. I love the way it fits. I have no complaints. But then if I stand up, it's just really, really cropped, and it's designed to be cropped. And I knit the pattern to the measurements, but if I'm doing anything where I'm reaching or I'm bending over or anything that requires me to move my arms, you're basically gonna see everything that's underneath. And I generally wear, I wouldn't wear this shirt with it, but I would wear something to where it doesn't peek over the V-neck. But I wear something other than my sweater, so I'm not worried about inadvertently exposing my midriff. That doesn't bother me. But I just don't like I don't like that about this sweater. So it's just not long enough is all I'm trying to say. And I have a full ball of this. These come in 50 gram hanks. And so I have a full hank untouched that I purchased when I was making this. And I do believe it's the same dye lot, so I don't think that should be an issue either. It's just a matter of taking out this sewn bind off and frogging to the point before the short rows, and then lengthening the body and binding off again and reblocking. So it's not a huge undertaking, but it's kind of been something I've been putting off. But it's really a shame, because for me to have put so much time and effort into this project and not wear it is really, and you know, in the grand scheme of things, the amount of work that it's going to take to fix it it'll be well worth it in the end, because I'll actually wear the item. I just had to make time for it, and so I'll probably be back with another video documenting my process of fixing this sweater. But yeah, this is the sweater that I want to fix because it's too short. Everything else about it is perfect, but it's just too short. Now let's talk about some projects that I plan to frog. It hurts to admit that, but it's true. So first on that list is the Cap Cardiana. So this is a crochet sort of cover-up cardigan Ruana hybrid type of piece. And I'll try it on here so you can see how it fits. Oh, you can't really see. So it's quite long, quite oversized. It's really pretty and I like it, but I don't wear it. I wore it maybe 2 times in real life outside of me wearing it to take finished object pictures. And I pattern tested. I tested this pattern for Murphy Made Crochet, Laura of Murphy Made Crochet. And I just don't wear it. So I don't wear this for a couple of reasons. The first one is that I don't really go to the beach that often, and I made this with the intent of like wearing it as a swimsuit cover-up to wear to the beach. And I took it with me to Belize, and I wore it poolside once that whole time we were there, and it just wasn't checking all the boxes for me. So it's an effective swimsuit cover-up, so that's fine. But one thing that I discovered on my trip to Belize is that this piece is not very space efficient or travel efficient. It takes up a lot of space. Crochet in general is very bulky. This is a DK weight yarn, and I talked about this in a previous video. I'll try to remember to link it, you know, when I gave all of the details about it. But it's very bulky. It takes up a lot of space, and when you are traveling somewhere, especially internationally, somewhere where you have to check bags and you have to be conscious about the weight of your luggage and the size of your luggage, it can be kind of difficult to justify bringing something that takes up so much space, especially if you're going somewhere with warm weather. This is like the equivalent of packing up a sweater. It's just a lot. So it's very bulky. And I, for a swimsuit cover up, would much prefer something that I pull over and that I don't have to fiddle with keeping it closed. So this is open fronted, and then I make a belt. You can make a belt that goes with it to like tie it closed. And I could alter this and sew up the front of it so that it's like a low V in the front and the front is seamed. But that wouldn't change the fact that it's still very bulky, and I don't think it's very practical as a swimsuit cover up for me. The only time, for the most part, that I ever go to the beach and would need a swimsuit cover up is when I'm going on vacation, usually somewhere out of the country. And those are the moments where I need to be conscious of what I'm packing, how much space it takes up. And it's just because of that, I just don't really see myself getting a lot of use out of this. So I do plan to frog it. And I have one project in mind that I'm going to try to use the frog yarn to make, which is the Anker's summer shirt, or Anker's shirt by Petite Knit, which calls for DK weight yarn. And this is DK weight yarn, but it's also massive and it's crochet. So I know that I would probably be able to get another garment or something out of this yarn once I frog it. I don't remember how much of this yarn that I used, but I know I used quite a bit. So yeah, this is on the frog list, and I think it's beautiful, but I don't wear it and it's not very practical for me. So stay tuned to see what I make with this frog yarn. Next up on the frog list, potentially on the toss list, is my, what is this called? Okay, yeah, I made this back in 2020, the fall of 2020. This is the Body Language. This is the Body Language sweater by Knits and Knots Winnipeg. This is a crochet garment, and this is the only crochet garment that I still have. Oh no, we just talked about, I'm stupid. But yeah, it's a crochet garment. It is crocheted flat and then seamed, and yeah, it's a really nice pattern. I'm not super happy with my finished piece. I'll put it on. Step one. Which one is the front? No, this. Okay, this is the front. So I don't think I've talked about this piece on this channel. Oof. Oof. But here it is. So it's crocheted flat and then seamed. I think the first thing that I'm not too happy about is the length of it. So I think if you look at the pictures for this pattern, it is shown with a very cropped length. The designer knit or crocheted with a very cropped length, and that's the fit that I was going for. And obviously I grossly overestimated what that length would be. So it's a lot longer than I wanted it to be. And because it's crochet ribbing just doesn't do it for me. So it's very stiff at the cuffs and at the bottom hem. There's not a whole lot of give to the ribbed portions. And because this doesn't stretch or give any extra room, and it's an awkward length, it just kind of fits weird. I can never adjust it to fit. It's just not a very flattering fit for a number of reasons. And then the neckline, it looks really unfinished to me. So I knit everything to pattern. So this is how the neckline is supposed to look, but it kind of looks like you just left a raw edge and you didn't finish. And I don't really like not only the finish of the neckline, but also the shape of it. Not a huge fan of. But yeah, at this point, I'm pretty much, I can admit that I prefer knit garments over crochet garments. So I'm trying not to look at this from that perspective and really just objectively say, here are the things. Well, I'm sharing my opinion, so it's not objective, but sort of take the knitting aspect out of it, and not just because it's crochet I don't like it, but that the specific things about it that I don't like as it relates to the fit and the look of it and everything. And to be honest, now that I'm talking about it, I don't think I'm going to frog it, because it has seemed there's just a lot there's going to be a lot of work to get everything unseamed and to be able to frog it, and I'm not really sure I'm interested in doing that. So I might actually donate this sweater. And this yarn is Lion Brand. It's the same yarn that I used in my Bly Cardigan, just a different color. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna donate it, because I don't know that I want anything else in this color. So frogging it would imply that I use the yarn for something else, but I don't think I like the yarn enough to go through the work of frogging this just to be able to make the yarn into something else. This was a little bit different because this cardigan I made from frogged yarn, but I really love this color and I knew I would get good use out of it. But this is kind of like, nah, don't think it's worth the extra work. So I think I'll probably be tossing this one. And last but not least, let me change. Aha, THEA top by Suzanne Mueller. And I think I talked about this in a previous video, but I don't think it had been done. Wasn't finished in the video that I mentioned it, but this is it. It's a cotton, I use cotton weight or cotton worsted weight yarn. It's just a basic plain stockinette tank top, but I'm not really happy with the fit. So it's too short, first of all. I mean, it's not too short. Like crop style, if that's what you're going for, it's fine. But it also, the ribbing tends to do this weird foldy thing. And I have blocked it, but this is something that I haven't really been able to resolve. So I probably should have gone down to a smaller needle size for the ribbing, but the pattern doesn't instruct that. The pattern just instructs you to keep the same needle size for both the ribbing and the stockinette. So in retrospect, I probably should have sized down a needle size for the ribbing. The other thing I'm not too thrilled about is I didn't do a great job at picking up stitches around the neck and armholes. And I had like significantly fewer stitches when I picked them up than what the pattern specified, because I couldn't get my ratio right. Totally user error. Everything wrong with this is not the pattern's fault, it's really my fault. The construction is very similar to vest number 1, but my execution was just not where it needed to be. So I'm not super happy with how this turned out. I'm not really loving the fit or the fabric. And I don't know if I want to frog it, but I do know I don't want to keep it. So I might toss it or donate it. So yeah. That is everything. Those are all of my, those are not all of my handmade garments, but those are the ones I wanted to talk about today and, you know, kind of generally share my thoughts on them. Let me know if you like this video, and for the pieces that I plan to fix or frog, I will be making additional videos to document what that process looks like and what the ultimate outcome is. So I'm excited to share that. And for the ones that I want to donate or toss, RIP. Let's have a moment of silence for them. All right, that's the video. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment to let me know your thoughts. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at balancedskein. You can send me an email that I'll include below, and you can also friend me on Ravelry, which is where I document all of my projects. So until next time, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.